Good morning. It's Lion Brave of Ask Lion, and today we're asking the question: how do we deal with emotional abuse and our emotional abusers? This is a tricky question, right? Um, it's so there's physical abuse and there's emotional abuse, and they're both devastating to one's life and what's going on in here. Especially when it's done through our family and loved ones, the very people who are meant to protect us, right? It can be just so devastating when the people who are supposed to love us and protect us in this life are the ones destroying us. And sadly, some people probably came from a background of abuse themselves, so they don't really know any better, and they might not even be aware of all the pain and suffering they're causing you. So how do we deal with our emotional abusers? Well, uh, I would say, in regards to any form of abuse, whether it's physical or emotional, the best thing to do would be to get away from it, to get space from it, to just call it what it is, and to get out of it. But that's not always an option. It's not. Sometimes we might be dependent on our abuser. That can happen. And that's a scary place to be in. But surprisingly, that happens to a lot of people, where they're dependent on their abuser. So, in terms of physical abuse, the one good thing is it's easier to get help because people can see when someone pops you and you have a black eye or a broken nose or a broken jaw. Now, it's not pretty, and I'm not saying physical abuse is easier to deal with. I'm saying it's easier to get help because the evidence is there. One thing about emotional abuse is it can turn into a he said, she said thing, and it can be hard to prove. It can be hard to prove emotional abuse, but the one thing is you might want to get into like a verbal sparring match with the person abusing you, and that's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. You can't fight fire with fire. It just makes a bigger fire. So the thing is if someone is constantly belittling you and bullying you, and saying very just hurtful statements to you, that you gotta just separate yourself from it and know that what they're saying is not true. It's them being a bully. It's them being manipulative. It's them being mean. And you gotta learn to separate yourself from their bad behavior, which is easier said than done, especially if you're the target, and especially if it's like almost like a 24/7 interaction, and especially if you're isolated with your abuser, which can happen. A lot of people can become isolated and dependent on their abuser, and these situations are hard to deal with. But remember and know one thing, which is all situations are temporary. You might be in them a little longer than you would like, but they're temporary, and you can get out of whatever situation is hurting your soul. Just remember that your abuser is in fact your abuser, so you do not have to take their words personally. And you don't have to let what they say about you be the truth about you, because it's not. They are a bully. They are belittling you. They are mean spirited. They are your abuser. They are not your guru. They are not your mentor. They are not your hero. They are not the one uplifting you. And above anything else, they are not you. They do not know your personal story. They do not know the compassion in your heart. They do not know the strength of your spirit. They are not you. So let it fly in one ear and out the other is the best thing you can do in regards to emotional abuse. If there's no way to escape it, block it out and just know who you are. One thing is an emotional abuser can really get into your mind. They can drill into your mind, and they can have you feeling depressed, suicidal. They can have you doubting yourself. They can have you thinking their words are true, that you're nothing, that you're never going to be anything, that you are this, and that. And, they have a way of manipulating reality and manipulating who you are as a person. And you just got to know that you're better than that picture that they're trying to paint of you. Don't let anyone else tell you who you are, okay? You're a beautiful, powerful, strong, brave creature, right? So that's the best thing to do in regards to emotional abuse, is get away from it if you can. any form of abuse. Get away from it if you can. And if you're codependent on your abuser in some way or another, just remember that they are your abuser and that you don't have to let what they say carry any weight. Now, when they're like your only source of contact, it can be hard not to let their influence affect you. But remember, just get it out. I mean, listen to music if you have to. Just remember you're better than that. And that's all you got to do is you need to reaffirm yourself every day. You need to say, I am this, I am great, I am wonderful, I am powerful. Like personally for me, I've been around someone who's been bullying and manipulating me recently. And what I tell myself, well, actually, I just started saying, and they have like this idea about me and none of it's true. And then I was like, let me tell you who I am. I am like this, actually a really soulful, sensitive artist, and I have a lot of compassion for people, and I'm a traveler, and I'm brave, and I'm smart, and I put myself through, I just started talking about me, and as I talked about me, I reminded myself of me, and I felt a lot better. I started to feel like me again. But it scared me that being around someone who doesn't know me, doesn't know anything about me, could have me feeling so negative about myself and so quickly. So remember, these people, they are doing is gaslighting you, they're manipulating you, and they don't know you. Okay, the chances are the people who are talking bad about you don't know you at all. So don't listen to it. Don't let it get to you. And I keep saying that, but that's really the truth. Is do not let your abuser get to you. Especially, the one thing about physical abuse is, boom, they did get to you. You can't, you don't really have any control in if someone breaks your nose or not. But you do have more control over an emotional abuser than a physical abuser, because you have more control over if you let them break your spirit or not. Now, with that being said, as soon as you can get away from someone who's emotionally abusing you, if they cannot learn to respect your boundaries after you've already had a conversation with them, then yes, you need to cut ties. Goodbye.